Hello and welcome to H Gallery in Laguna Beach, California, presenting our first online audio tour of our fine art collection. What we're going to do is we're going to go through the gallery today and give you a little bit of an orientation of the current collection that we're hanging with a couple of nice photos, and hopefully we'll be able to do something from there. So starting off the collection in the front of the gallery is a beautiful Ting sculpture. Artist Ting Xiaoquan, one of China's most important and impressive painters and sculptors of the last 20th century. This particular piece is one of 5 that we'll be presenting over the next 6 months in our new program. Moving over to our right, we now are looking at Gaylord Soley, one of my dear friends, and if the work looks familiar, it's because he did all the printing for A.B. Orlando, who is a very, very recognized artist here in Laguna Beach, famed family member of Botero. So Gaylord comes to us from Southern California, is a retired gentleman in his 80s, and both of these works are 5 by 7 feet acrylic on canvas originals. As we move into the gallery, next artist will be Steve Metzger. Steve is a teacher and professor at Fullerton College, been teaching there for close to 15 years. Also, dear friend, super guy, deals primarily in mid-century realism. All these pieces you're about to see are acrylic on canvas, so they're original paintings, one of a kind, but are also available on giclée on canvas for a fraction of the cost. Steve also works part-time up at FIDM, Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising, and also as a local artist. We published a book for Steve. He also, as I said, is a dear friend of ours. You'll notice in the gallery that half the gallery is made up of up-and-coming emerging artists. The other half of the gallery is made up of recognized blue-chip masters. I do that so there's a little something for everybody. Moving down the gallery, we get to our left, we see a couple of more of the Steve Metzger paintings. And then over to your left, if you look into the corner, we had the Dick Marconi One-Eyed Jack piece. He presented this piece in 1956. Marconi is synonymous with the company Herbalife, and he actually developed this piece as one of his first pieces of art ever done in Gary, Indiana. That's One-Eyed Jack by Dick Marconi, kind of a special piece for me. Right next to that would be a John Warren Siren Mermaid, which is a metal sculpture which is done with reusable product. This is found material that John makes into sculptures. This piece by itself weighs in at a whopping 87 pounds and hangs from the ceiling at approximately 9 feet tip to toe. Beautiful work. Moving across the gallery, of course, we have Picasso. No gallery would be complete without a Picasso. This particular piece is a colored engraving done back in 1950 called Les Casseroles Emeraude. Excuse my French, but it is a beautiful piece, and certainly no collection should be without a decent Picasso. Next to the Picassos, Andy Warhol. Love the Andy Warhol. Title, Vesuvius. Artist proof, number 50 out of 50, and this is on what I call my volcano wall. So if you step back and look at this, you'll see a Max Demas meteor coming in from the sky, blowing up in between the Peter Lik and the Andy Warhol. The Peter Lik is a 2011 Peel's Whisper, which is, I believe, over in Hawaii. That is a limited edition chromiograph. And, of course, the Andy Warhol is a limited edition, signed and numbered graphic artist proof. Next to that, the Andy Warhol Committee 2000, piece done back in, obviously, the year 2000. Again, kind of a great starter piece for someone looking for a decent lithograph, 1982, approximate size 29 by 20 inches. Moving across the gallery now, we have Mikhail Shimyakin, known in Russia as the Norman Rockwell of Russia. What can I say? Mikhail Shimyakin, original pastels on paper. The pieces speak for themselves. The 2 larger pieces, museum quality, they're running in at about 6 feet by 4 feet, beautifully mounted, beautifully framed. Value on these is anywhere from $45,000 to about $135,000. Next is a Victor Vasarely sculpture entitled Zint, Z-I-N-T. This is a plexiglass sculpture which has serigraph on the interior, 1972, museum piece, one of my favorite. I bought it in 1983. I've owned it ever since. It again is quite a collector work. Price on that's $10,500. Moving on down the road is, of course, an Alexander Calder Stabile, Elevant Noir. Funny thing about this is it's the cross between a mobile and a sculpture, called it Stabile. This is a limited edition out of 999 pieces, done in 1973 in Belgium, Germany. It's an exquisite work, great value, under $10,000, signed and numbered. Everybody needs to have one. Next down the road would be a Richard McDonald. Of course, he has a gallery here in Laguna, so we feel compelled to have a couple of his works in the shop. This particular piece is his signature work, Nureyev. It comes in 3 different sizes. This is the what we call the quarter life size, and the retail value on that, $69,500. Then we get to the Dali Basic Alcove. Now, the Dali Alcove hosts just a few pieces. One is a beautiful original pen and ink on paper, 1944, titled Roy Mark. Of course, that means King Mark. I bought it for my 45th birthday. I love it to death. The value on that currently is about $150,000. Of course, the Persistence of Memory may look familiar. The most recognized Dali print ever done. This is what it actually is supposed to look like. This is an actual hand-pulled stone litho done by Salvador Dali, 1974. List price on it's $30,500, and I have it sitting here available. Next to that's the famous Lincoln and Dali Vision. This is the piece that when you stand back and squint your eyes, Lincoln's head appears. This was done in 1977 at Bell Labs and was coveted on the front of a major Time Life magazine. This also is a great piece. List on that's $32,500. The next alcove is Jean Moreau. Of course, no stranger to the fine art movement. Born and raised in Catalan, hung out with Dali, Picasso, Chagall. Certainly one of the 20th century masters. His style speaks for itself. We have a tremendous inventory and a tremendous collection of his works, from lithographs to engravings to etchings to aquatint carborundums. Next is Andrew Wyeth. Andrew Wyeth, known as the most important illustrator of the 20th century. This particular work you're looking at, The Carry, was the last piece, unfortunately, Wyeth ever produced before his untimely death in 2009, right around Christmas time. These are very limited, they're very rare, they start at $10,500. Next to that would be Yakov Agam. This is an agamograph, Invisible Rainbow, one of many that we have in stock. We have a tremendous Agam collection. I just don't have them all hanging up right now, but this gives you a good example of what a good quality agamograph looks like. They range anywhere from about $4,000 to about $6,000. Last but not least would be Karen Pike. Oh, not last, almost last. Karen Pike. Funny story with Karen, one of my favorite friends, one of my dearest artists. Met her on the streets 7 years ago, and she turned me into someone believing in doing business, not just with dead people, but living people as well. Karen's one of the, as far as I'm concerned, most important artists that I have in the gallery, and her work, speaks for itself. Next door to that is going to be a Raphael Sawyer original. I think there's a couple of them. Nude Lady on Bed, and another one Out of the Spa. These are 1950 circa original Raphael Sawyer works on paper, and again, have been in the collection for quite some time. So listen, I want to thank you very much for taking the time to look at our new video, spending a couple of minutes on our current collection, but most importantly, supporting me, Mark Heffron, with Art Cellars and H Gallery for the last 3 decades here in Laguna Beach. I want to leave you with anything that you need, directly or indirectly related with the art business, whether it's appraising, authenticating, restoring, framing, shipping, all the way down the line to customs brokering. We are a full service art brokering facility. And one last note, we are in the market for buying any original fine art that you may have in your possession. Simply give me a call, send me a photograph, and I'd be happy to give you a bid back. And again, I want to thank you and have a nice day.